Welcome to today's video, where we will explore the intriguing and mysterious predictions of one of the most famous prophets in history, Edgar Cayce. As 2025 approaches, Cayce's forecasts suggest that this year will be full of changes and challenges. So, do his predictions hold any truth? Let's dive into this fascinating topic. Edgar Cayce, often called the sleeping prophet, had the remarkable ability to predict future events while in a state of sleep. His predictions weren't just limited to personal matters, but extended to global events, covering politics, society, environment, and science. Despite passing away in 1945, Cayce's prophecies continue to captivate people's attention. In this video, we will examine Cayce's predictions for the year 2025, particularly focusing on his warnings about political, societal, and environmental events. Some of his prophecies have already come true, while others remain untested. Will we witness strange occurrences or even major disasters in the coming year? As Cayce foresaw, stay tuned and find out what the near future might hold for us. The accuracy of Edgar Cayce's predictions is a topic that continues to intrigue both supporters and skeptics alike. Known as the sleeping prophet, Cayce gained a reputation for his remarkable ability to predict future events while in a trance-like state. His predictions, often delivered in response to questions from individuals or groups, ranged from personal health diagnoses to world-changing events. However, when it comes to the accuracy of his forecasts, opinions vary widely. Many of Cayce's supporters claim that his predictions were startlingly accurate, often pointing to specific instances where his forecasts seem to have come true. For example, he predicted the stock market crash of 1929, the rise of Adolf Hitler, and the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. These events, which took place well after Cayce made his predictions, are often cited as evidence of his extraordinary ability to foresee the future. Cayce also made numerous medical predictions and diagnoses, many of which were said to be surprisingly accurate, particularly given the medical knowledge of his time. His ability to diagnose illnesses and suggest treatment plans, based on the principles of holistic health, impressed both patients and doctors. However, there are also significant criticisms of Cayce's predictions. Critics argue that many of his forecasts were vague and open to interpretation, making it easy for supporters to find connections between his predictions and subsequent events. For example, Cayce's prophecies about the future of the world often mention broad concepts like cataclysms, spiritual upheavals, or global shifts, which could apply to any number of events over the course of history. Because these predictions were so general, it is difficult to say with certainty whether they truly came to pass or whether they were simply interpreted in hindsight to fit events that had already occurred. Furthermore, while Cayce made numerous predictions about the future, not all of them have come to fruition. Some of his prophecies about technological advancements and societal changes, for instance, have yet to be realized. He predicted that the United States would experience a major shift in its political landscape, but the specifics of these changes remain unclear. Additionally, Cayce's predictions about Earth changes, such as massive flooding, earthquakes, and other natural disasters, have yet to materialize in the way he described them. In some cases, these predictions were so sweeping and dramatic that they could easily be dismissed as fantastical or exaggerated. One of the most famous and controversial aspects of Cayce's prophecies is his prediction of the coming cataclysm. He foresaw a future in which the Earth's poles would shift, leading to global disasters that would reshape the planet's geography. This prediction has drawn considerable attention over the years, especially as various natural disasters, such as earthquakes, floods, and tsunamis, have occurred. However, despite widespread interest in the idea of pole shifts and global catastrophe, no major event of the scale Cayce predicted has yet taken place. Despite the criticisms and skepticism surrounding Cayce's predictions, there remains a dedicated group of followers who believe that his prophecies hold a deeper, spiritual significance. These followers argue that Cayce's predictions were not meant to be taken literally, but rather as a guide to spiritual awakening and personal growth. In this context, his predictions are seen as allegorical or symbolic, rather than specific forecasts of future events. In conclusion, the accuracy of Edgar Cayce's predictions is a complex and multifaceted issue. While some of his prophecies have come true, many others remain untested or open to interpretation. Whether one views Cayce as a true prophet or simply a product of his time, his predictions continue to captivate the imagination of people around the world, sparking ongoing debate and curiosity about the mysteries of the future. As we approach 2025, it will be interesting to see how the world unfolds in relation to Cayce's forecasts, and whether new developments will lend credence to his remarkable predictions. Edgar Cayce, widely known for his remarkable abilities as a clairvoyant and healer, made numerous political and social predictions during his career that have drawn both admiration and skepticism. His predictions ranged from forecasts about world events, geopolitical changes, to societal shifts. These predictions, which were delivered while Cayce was in a trance-like state, have been the subject of considerable debate. Some followers of Cayce believe that his visions offer profound insight into the future of the world, while critics argue that many of his political and social predictions were vague, imprecise, or simply never came to fruition. One of Cayce's most well-known political predictions concerned the future of the United States and its role in world affairs. He predicted significant political upheaval and change in the U.S., though his visions were often not specific enough to pinpoint exact events. For example, he predicted that the country would experience a major political shift, one that would involve an overthrow of the current political order and the rise of a new type of leadership. These predictions have been interpreted by some as foreseeing the potential rise of authoritarian leadership or a shift toward a more spiritual-based government. Supporters of Cayce's work suggest that his visions pointed to social and political reforms that could lead to a more enlightened political system. Cayce also made predictions about the social and economic climate in the U.S., many of which seem to anticipate periods of financial struggle and the rise of social movements. He warned of impending financial crises, such as the Great Depression, which occurred in the early 1930s. In several of his readings, Cayce spoke of a period when the stock market would crash, resulting in significant economic hardship. Some Cayce supporters point to this as an example of his prescient understanding of economic systems and their vulnerability to collapse. He even discussed how society would be affected by these financial shifts, predicting a need for people to return to more sustainable and community-oriented ways of living. This aligns with some of the current discussions in modern social movements that advocate for local economies, sustainability, and a return to more holistic lifestyles. Another area where Cayce's political and social predictions have gained attention is in regard to the international relations and conflicts of the 20th and 21st centuries. Perhaps the most striking of these was his prediction of World War II and the rise of Adolf Hitler. Cayce predicted the rise of a great world leader who would bring much suffering and destruction. His descriptions of this individual closely resemble the rise of Hitler in the 1930s, leading some to believe that Cayce had foresaw this critical moment in history. Additionally, Cayce discussed the consequences of global conflicts and the impact they would have on the balance of power. He also warned of the dangers of unchecked nationalism and the rise of totalitarian regimes, making his predictions particularly resonant given the geopolitical developments of the 20th century. Cayce's predictions on social issues were equally diverse, ranging from education to social justice. He foresaw a future in which educational systems would undergo major reforms, leading to a more holistic approach to learning that emphasized both intellectual development and spiritual growth. According to Cayce, the future of education would involve a greater focus on the emotional and spiritual well-being of students, an idea that resonates with current debates surrounding mental health in schools and the push for more inclusive and diverse educational systems. Furthermore, he predicted that social structures would evolve to be more egalitarian, with greater opportunities for women and marginalized groups. This prediction aligns with the broader social movements for gender equality, civil rights, and LGBTQ+ rights that have gained significant traction in recent decades. One of the most controversial aspects of Cayce's political and social predictions was his vision of a global shift in spiritual consciousness. According to Cayce, humanity would experience a massive transformation in its understanding of spirituality, one that would lead to the development of a more unified global consciousness. He believed that this shift would bring about social change that would foster greater unity and understanding between different cultures and peoples. Some interpreters of Cayce's work suggest that his predictions hint at the possibility of a new world order, where humanity would come together to address global challenges such as poverty, environmental destruction, and inequality. Critics, however, have argued that such ideas are overly idealistic and fail to take into account the deep-seated political and social divisions that persist in the world. In terms of specific social events, Cayce's predictions touched on many aspects of modern life. He foresaw advances in technology and the potential for new discoveries in science, medicine, and energy. His visions of the future included the widespread use of alternative energy sources, including geothermal power, and the potential for breakthroughs in medical treatments and healthcare. He also predicted advances in communication technologies that would allow people to connect and share information across the globe. This aligns with the rapid development of the internet and social media, which have revolutionized how individuals interact and how information is disseminated. Despite the compelling nature of some of Cayce's political and social predictions, there are challenges in evaluating their accuracy. One of the key criticisms of Cayce's predictions is that they are often vague and open to interpretation. For instance, while Cayce made many predictions about political and social upheavals, the specifics of these events are often unclear. This has led some critics to argue that his prophecies are so broad and generalized that they could apply to virtually any period of history. As a result, it is difficult to pinpoint concrete examples where Cayce's predictions have been fully realized. Moreover, some of Cayce's predictions about the future of political systems, including the rise of certain global powers and the collapse of others, have not come to pass in the way he described. For example, Cayce predicted that certain regions of the world would experience catastrophic shifts in political power, but these events have not occurred to the extent he envisioned. Additionally, his prediction of major global shifts in power structures, particularly in relation to the rise of new world leaders, has yet to manifest in the dramatic way that Cayce described. In conclusion, Edgar Cayce's political and social predictions present a fascinating window into the intersection of prophecy, spirituality, and human history. While many of his predictions have had moments of resonance, particularly in terms of economic and social upheavals, the accuracy of his political forecasts is open to interpretation. His visions of a global transformation, both in terms of spiritual awakening and political change, continue to inspire those who believe in his abilities as a clairvoyant. Whether or not these predictions are fully realized, they reflect deep concerns about the future of humanity, our collective well-being, and the need for greater cooperation and understanding in a rapidly changing world. Financial and credit card debt issues have become a pervasive concern in modern society, affecting millions of individuals and families around the world. With the increasing availability of credit and the rise in living costs, more and more people are finding themselves burdened by financial obligations that they struggle to manage. Edgar Cayce, in his extensive body of psychic readings, addressed several aspects of personal finance, including the impact of debt and the financial struggles that many people would face in the future. Although Cayce's predictions were often vague, his insights into financial issues seem to resonate with current trends in the global economy, particularly regarding the growing problem of credit card debt. One of the central themes in Cayce's readings on finances was the idea of balance and personal responsibility in managing one's financial resources. He often spoke about the importance of living within one's means, emphasizing that financial stability could be achieved by adopting a mindset of fiscal discipline and spiritual awareness. According to Cayce, individuals should avoid excessive debt and instead focus on creating sustainable financial practices that would lead to long-term prosperity. In many ways, his advice aligns with current financial wisdom, which emphasizes budgeting, saving, and reducing reliance on credit. Despite his emphasis on financial prudence, Cayce also predicted that many individuals would face significant challenges due to the increasing availability of credit. He foresaw a time when credit card debt would become a widespread issue, as people would be tempted to spend beyond their means. This foresight seems particularly relevant today, as the ease of obtaining credit cards has led to a significant rise in consumer debt across the globe. According to recent studies, credit card debt in countries like the United States has reached alarming levels, with millions of individuals struggling to pay off their balances and accumulating high-interest debt over time. Cayce's readings suggested that financial crises could arise from the excessive use of credit and the tendency of individuals to live beyond their means. He predicted that such practices would lead to periods of economic instability, where people would be forced to confront the consequences of their financial decisions. These predictions can be seen as prescient in light of the 2008 global financial crisis, which was partly driven by the overextension of credit in the housing market and excessive consumer borrowing. While Cayce did not specifically predict the 2008 crash, his warnings about the dangers of unchecked credit align with the causes of the crisis. The issue of credit card debt, specifically, has become a focal point in the modern discussion about personal finance. Many individuals fall into the trap of using credit cards to make purchases they cannot afford, resulting in accumulating balances and high interest rates that make it difficult to pay off the debt. This cycle of debt can be particularly damaging, as it can lead to financial stress, negatively impact mental health, and reduce an individual's ability to save for the future. For many, credit card debt becomes a never-ending burden, as monthly minimum payments are often only enough to cover interest and fees, rather than reducing the principal balance. Cayce's predictions about the consequences of financial instability also extended to the broader economy. He believed that when individuals and societies relied too heavily on credit, they would eventually face the fallout of unsustainable debt. This would not only affect individuals, but could also lead to wider economic disruptions, as the inability to pay off personal debts would result in decreased consumer spending and potentially a rise in bankruptcies and foreclosures. The global nature of modern finance means that financial instability in one country can have ripple effects across the world, as was seen during the 2008 financial crisis when the collapse of major financial institutions led to a worldwide recession. Another aspect of Cayce's readings on financial matters involved the role of the government and financial institutions in regulating credit and debt. He suggested that societies would need to develop systems of financial accountability and transparency in order to avoid the dangers of excessive borrowing. While he did not provide specific solutions, his emphasis on the need for responsible financial practices points to a growing awareness of the importance of financial literacy and regulation in today's world. Many contemporary financial experts advocate for stronger consumer protection laws, more transparent lending practices, and improved financial education to help individuals avoid falling into the traps of excessive debt. One of the key messages from Cayce's teachings on personal finance was the importance of addressing debt with a sense of responsibility and long-term planning. He urged individuals to work toward eliminating debt and establishing financial independence by focusing on savings and investments. This advice echoes modern financial strategies that emphasize the importance of building an emergency fund, investing for the future, and avoiding the pitfalls of high-interest credit card debt. The advice to reduce reliance on credit and live within one's means is particularly relevant in today's world, where many people are grappling with the consequences of living paycheck to paycheck. Cayce also warned against the social and psychological effects of debt. In his readings, he often pointed out that excessive financial burdens could lead to feelings of despair, stress, and even physical health problems. The emotional toll of carrying large amounts of debt can be profound, leading to anxiety, depression, and a general sense of hopelessness. These emotional effects are not just anecdotal. Research has shown that individuals with high levels of debt are more likely to experience mental health challenges and have a lower quality of life. This highlights the importance of addressing financial issues not only from a practical standpoint, but also from a psychological perspective. The growing issue of credit card debt and financial instability in the modern world is a clear reflection of some of the concerns that Cayce raised in his readings. His emphasis on balance, responsibility, and long-term planning remains relevant today as individuals continue to struggle with managing their finances in an increasingly complex and credit-driven society. While some of Cayce's predictions may have been vague or imprecise, his overall message about the dangers of excessive debt and the importance of financial discipline resonates strongly with the challenges faced by many individuals today. As such, his teachings offer valuable insights into how we might address the ongoing issues surrounding financial and credit card debt, providing a roadmap for creating a more stable and sustainable financial future. Cyber attacks have become one of the most pressing global threats, particularly as technology advances and more systems and individuals rely on digital infrastructure. Although Edgar Cayce, the famous psychic, did not predict cyber attacks specifically, he made insightful warnings about technological progress and its potential dangers. His cautions about technological dependence and its unintended consequences can be interpreted as prescient in the context of modern cyber threats. In Cayce's readings, he spoke about the rapid advancement of science and technology, predicting both beneficial and negative outcomes. While he didn't foresee cyber threats, he acknowledged the risks posed by technological dependence. For example, Cayce warned against becoming too reliant on machines, which aligns with the vulnerability of today's digital world, where hackers exploit weaknesses in systems to cause significant damage. Ransomware is a major form of cyber attack, where cybercriminals encrypt a victim's data and demand ransom for its release. High-profile attacks like those targeting Colonial Pipeline and JBS have disrupted businesses and critical infrastructure. Cayce's caution about technological reliance seems relevant, as such attacks highlight the vulnerabilities in our digital infrastructure. Similarly, data breaches, where sensitive personal and financial information is stolen, are increasingly common. Major breaches like those at Equifax and Target have demonstrated the consequences of weak cybersecurity measures, a risk Cayce hinted at when discussing privacy concerns. State-sponsored cyber attacks have also become a major concern. These attacks are usually carried out by government-backed hackers with the aim of disrupting or stealing sensitive data from other nations. For instance, the 2017 WannaCry attack, attributed to North Korean hackers, affected hundreds of thousands of computers globally. Cayce's readings about global geopolitical tensions and his emphasis on understanding national boundaries resonate with the growing threat of cyber warfare, which can destabilize nations and affect global relations. Cayce's predictions about societal vulnerabilities also apply to today's reliance on digital infrastructure. The 2007 cyber attack on Estonia demonstrated the far-reaching consequences of cyber attacks on critical systems like finance and government services. This highlights the importance of building resilient systems, as Cayce suggested in his readings, and ensuring that society can withstand such external threats. Cayce's advice about individual responsibility in the face of technological progress is relevant in today's digital age. While he didn't explicitly address cybersecurity, his teachings on vigilance and caution can be applied to modern threats. Individuals must adopt strong security practices, stay informed about new threats, and take responsibility for their own digital safety. Artificial intelligence, AI, plays an increasingly significant role in both perpetrating and defending against cyber attacks. AI-driven attacks, such as automated phishing campaigns and malware distribution, have become more sophisticated. However, AI is also being used to detect and prevent cyber threats. Cayce's warnings about balancing technology's potential with caution seem especially pertinent as AI continues to evolve, underscoring the need for responsible use and proper safeguards to prevent its misuse. As we look to the future, it is clear that cyber attacks will remain a significant risk. Cayce's readings, though not directly predicting the rise of cyber threats, offer valuable insights into how we can navigate the challenges of modern technology. His emphasis on foresight, responsibility, and balance in the face of rapid change can guide us in building more secure and resilient systems, better preparing for the cyber threats that lie ahead. By applying Cayce's principles of awareness and vigilance, we can ensure that we are ready to face the evolving world of cybersecurity. Edgar Cayce, renowned for his psychic readings, made several predictions regarding geological and environmental changes, many of which have sparked considerable debate over time. His insights, although often vague and metaphorical, have been linked to events such as climate change, rising sea levels, earthquakes, and other natural phenomena. In his readings, Cayce described a vision of a world that was undergoing significant transformation, with shifts in both the physical landscape and environmental conditions. His predictions about the Earth's changing climate and the increased occurrence of natural disasters seem to reflect modern concerns about the environment and its sustainability. One of the central themes in Cayce's readings regarding geological changes was the idea of shifting poles and the reactivation of the Earth's crust. He often referred to a process of gradual but significant changes in the Earth's physical structure, including the possibility of catastrophic geological events that could alter the map of the world. For example, Cayce spoke about the rise of new lands, with certain areas becoming submerged and other previously submerged regions resurfacing. This idea of shifting continents and poles echoes concerns about sea level rise due to global warming and the melting of polar ice caps. While Cayce's predictions weren't specific about the exact causes of these changes, they resonate with modern geological theories about tectonic plate movements and the shifting of the Earth's crust. Cayce also spoke about the destruction of the land in certain areas, warning about natural disasters that would devastate cities and landscapes. His readings hinted at the possibility of earthquakes and floods in regions such as the United States, particularly along the West Coast, which has been associated with the San Andreas Fault. The frequency and intensity of earthquakes in this area, as well as other seismic hotspots around the world, align with Cayce's warnings about shifting geological conditions. His predictions about the potential for massive earthquakes and flooding in coastal areas also align with the growing concerns over climate change and the vulnerability of coastal cities to rising sea levels and extreme weather events. Beyond physical shifts in the Earth's landscape, Cayce's readings also addressed broader environmental issues, including pollution and the depletion of natural resources. While he did not predict climate change in the way we understand it today, Cayce did discuss the importance of taking care of the environment and maintaining a balance between human development and the natural world. His readings emphasized that humanity's disregard for nature would lead to imbalances in the Earth's ecosystems, resulting in environmental degradation and catastrophic weather events. These concerns resonate strongly with modern environmental issues, such as deforestation, ocean pollution, and the loss of biodiversity, all of which contribute to the accelerating effects of climate change. In recent years, there has been increasing evidence of the kinds of geological and environmental changes Cayce predicted: rising global temperatures, extreme weather events, and the increasing frequency of natural disasters such as hurricanes, wildfires, and floods are undeniable signs of a rapidly changing environment. The melting of polar ice caps and the shrinking of glaciers are also clear indicators of the shifts that Cayce foresaw, even if he didn't directly attribute them to human activity or global warming. Cayce's predictions about the future of Earth, while often speculative, provide a framework for understanding the potential consequences of ignoring environmental stewardship. His emphasis on the importance of taking care of the Earth and respecting its natural rhythms resonates with contemporary environmental movements aimed at combating climate change and preserving the planet for future generations. The urgency of addressing climate change and its impact on geological and environmental systems reflects the broader lessons that Cayce's readings impart: the need for balance, respect for nature, and a deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of the Earth's systems. One of the more intriguing aspects of Cayce's readings was his belief in the cyclical nature of geological and environmental changes. He suggested that Earth underwent periodic cycles of destruction and renewal, with cataclysmic events followed by a period of rebuilding. This cyclical view of the planet's history resonates with geological theories such as plate tectonics, which propose that the Earth's crust is constantly evolving and reshaping itself over time. The possibility of a new cycle of renewal, as Cayce predicted, raises important questions about how humanity might respond to the challenges posed by environmental and geological changes. In light of recent scientific advancements, it is clear that the planet is undergoing significant environmental changes. The rising frequency of natural disasters, the shifting patterns of weather, and the growing evidence of global warming are just a few examples of the ongoing transformations that align with Cayce's predictions. Whether or not Cayce's visions were purely the result of psychic intuition or based on a deeper understanding of the Earth's natural processes, His messages about the need for environmental stewardship and the importance of respecting the planet's resources remain as relevant today as ever. By understanding and preparing for the geological and environmental challenges that lie ahead, we can work to mitigate their impact and create a more sustainable future for generations to come. Edgar Cayce, often referred to as the Sleeping Prophet, was renowned for his spiritual readings that touched on a wide array of topics, including health, future predictions, and metaphysical subjects. One of the more intriguing aspects of his work was his discussions about extraterrestrial beings, which he viewed as integral to humanity's spiritual development and the cosmic order. Cayce's ideas about extraterrestrials are rooted in the belief that life exists beyond Earth and that the Earth is part of a larger, interconnected universe. Cayce suggested that extraterrestrial beings have played a role in the development of Earth's civilizations, particularly ancient ones such as Atlantis and Lemuria. According to him, these beings were spiritually advanced and had guided humanity both in technological advancements and spiritual matters. He described these extraterrestrials not as hostile invaders, but as benevolent beings who offered wisdom to help humanity's evolution. In some of his readings, Cayce mentioned that these beings, whom he referred to as star people or space brothers, had made contact with Earth for millennia, with the purpose of guiding and teaching humanity. One of the key concepts in Cayce's teachings about extraterrestrials was the idea that Earth is not isolated in the universe. He envisioned a vast cosmic order where life exists on many other planets, and humanity is just one part of this grand design. He believed that extraterrestrial beings were much more advanced than humans, both intellectually and spiritually. Their goal was not only to observe humanity, but to assist in its spiritual growth. Cayce even suggested that humanity's destiny included a future in which humans would have more direct interactions with these extraterrestrial civilizations, potentially leading to a collective enlightenment. Cayce also emphasized that extraterrestrial beings were part of a broader spiritual dimension, existing not only in physical form but also on higher planes of existence. This aligns with his philosophy of interconnectedness in the universe, where all things are linked through a cosmic energy. He suggested that the spiritual influence of extraterrestrials could help humanity reach a higher level of consciousness. These extraterrestrials were seen as spiritual guides, not merely physical beings, and their role in human affairs was crucial to helping people on their journey toward enlightenment. However, Cayce did caution about the potential dangers of interacting with extraterrestrial beings. While he believed that most extraterrestrials were benevolent, he warned that humanity should approach any such encounters with discernment and caution. Some of his readings suggested that there were malevolent beings in the universe with intentions that could be harmful to humanity. This perspective added a layer of spiritual protection to his teachings, urging individuals to strengthen their own spiritual development in order to better understand and interact with these beings. Another aspect of Cayce's theories involved the concept of reincarnation. He suggested that souls could reincarnate on different planets, gaining experiences in various environments before returning to Earth. This idea extended to extraterrestrial beings, who Cayce believed could have been individuals who had previously lived on Earth or other planets. These beings, according to Cayce, were also on a spiritual journey, evolving toward higher states of consciousness. Thus, extraterrestrials were seen as part of the same cosmic cycle that humans undergo, sharing similar spiritual goals. Cayce's view of extraterrestrials was not only rooted in a belief in their existence, but also in a broader spiritual narrative that connected all life forms, regardless of their origins. In a universal cycle of evolution, this interconnectedness extended beyond just human beings and Earth, but to all conscious beings across the universe. Cayce believed that the Earth's role in this cosmic order was significant because it was a place where souls could develop and learn crucial spiritual lessons. Extraterrestrials, therefore, were seen as helpers or guides on this journey, aiding humanity in its pursuit of enlightenment. While Cayce's views on extraterrestrials remain highly speculative and outside the realm of mainstream scientific thought, they continue to capture the imagination of many who are interested in the possibility of life beyond Earth. His teachings challenge the conventional understanding of the universe, offering an alternative view that integrates spirituality, reincarnation, and the idea of a vast cosmic community. For those who are open to exploring these ideas, Cayce's perspective offers a fascinating lens through which to view the mysteries of existence. Cayce's predictions about extraterrestrial beings are not only about their physical presence or their role in human affairs, but also about the potential spiritual awakening that humanity could experience. As humans evolve spiritually, Cayce suggested that they would become more attuned to the presence of extraterrestrial beings and could eventually join a greater interstellar community. This vision presents a hopeful and expansive view of humanity's future, where the boundaries between the physical and spiritual realms are less defined, and the possibility of connecting with other intelligent beings becomes a natural part of the human experience. In conclusion, Cayce's theories about extraterrestrial beings offer a unique perspective on the interconnectedness of life in the universe. His teachings suggest that humanity is not alone in the cosmos and that there are advanced spiritual beings who have played a role in our development. Whether or not one believes in the literal existence of extraterrestrials, Cayce's views encourage an exploration of the spiritual dimensions of the universe and a recognition of humanity's place in the larger cosmic order. The concept of extraterrestrial beings, in Cayce's worldview, is intertwined with the idea of spiritual evolution and the ultimate goal of reaching a higher state of consciousness. The concept of the end of the world has been a central theme in many religious and spiritual traditions, with predictions of apocalyptic events and the transformation of humanity in a final, cataclysmic event. In Edgar Cayce's readings, the idea of the end of the world is not framed as a literal destruction of the planet, but rather as a spiritual rebirth and transformation of consciousness. Cayce, known for his prophecies and insights into the future, believed that the end of the world would be a process of purification, where humanity would undergo a profound spiritual awakening. This process would not involve the annihilation of life on Earth, but instead, a shift toward higher spiritual awareness and enlightenment. Cayce's views on the end of the world were deeply influenced by his belief in reincarnation and the cyclical nature of time. He saw history as a continuous flow of events where humanity learns from its past mistakes, grows spiritually, and evolves into higher states of consciousness. According to Cayce, the end of the world would be a time when humanity would face a series of challenges, both physical and spiritual, that would lead to a period of transformation. These challenges would not be punishment, but rather an opportunity for growth and purification. In Cayce's view, the end of the world would be the end of an era, a time when old ways of thinking, materialism, and ignorance would be replaced with a new era of spiritual enlightenment. One of the key aspects of Cayce's predictions about the end of the world was the idea of spiritual rebirth. He believed that as the Earth went through a period of physical changes, humanity would also undergo a spiritual awakening. This awakening would involve a deeper understanding of the true nature of reality and the interconnectedness of all life. It would be a time when individuals would recognize their divine nature and the importance of spiritual growth. According to Cayce, this spiritual rebirth would not be confined to a select group of people, but would be a collective transformation that would affect all of humanity. The process of spiritual rebirth, as Cayce described it, would involve a shift in consciousness. People would begin to realize that material wealth and success are not the true measures of a fulfilling life. Instead, spiritual development, compassion, and love would become the guiding principles. This shift in consciousness would be accompanied by a change in the way people interact with the world around them. The emphasis would be on cooperation, unity, and harmony, rather than division and competition. Cayce believed that this transformation would be facilitated by the influx of spiritual energy from higher dimensions, which would help to accelerate humanity's evolution toward higher states of consciousness. In his readings, Cayce also spoke about the physical changes that would accompany this spiritual transformation. He predicted that the Earth would go through a period of upheaval, marked by natural disasters such as earthquakes, floods, and shifts in the Earth's magnetic field. These changes would be part of the cleansing process that would prepare the planet for the new era of spiritual enlightenment. Cayce believed that these physical events would be a natural part of the cycle of life. and that they were necessary to bring about the spiritual rebirth that humanity needed. While these events might appear catastrophic, Cayce saw them as opportunities for growth and renewal, not as the end of civilization. According to Cayce, the Earth itself was undergoing a process of spiritual transformation. He believed that the planet was alive and that it had its own consciousness. This consciousness, he suggested, was evolving along with humanity. The Earth's spiritual transformation would parallel the spiritual awakening of its inhabitants, and the two would be inextricably linked. Cayce envisioned a world where people would live in harmony with the Earth and with each other, respecting the planet's natural resources and working together for the greater good. In this vision, the end of the world would be the end of a destructive era and the beginning of a new era of peace, love, and spiritual enlightenment. Cayce's predictions about the end of the world were not meant to instill fear or anxiety, but to encourage people to prepare for the spiritual transformation that was to come. He urged individuals to focus on their spiritual development and to cultivate qualities such as compassion, understanding, and forgiveness. He believed that those who were spiritually prepared would be able to navigate the changes of the coming age and would play a key role in the creation of the new world. For Cayce, the end of the world was not a final destruction, but a rebirth, a transformation of humanity and the Earth into a higher state of consciousness. While Cayce's predictions about the end of the world have often been interpreted in various ways, they reflect his broader philosophical and spiritual worldview. He believed that humanity was on a spiritual journey, one that involved learning from past mistakes, evolving spiritually, and ultimately achieving a state of higher consciousness. The end of the world, in Cayce's view, was not an apocalyptic event in the traditional sense, but rather a turning point in human history, a time when the spiritual evolution of humanity would take precedence over material concerns. Cayce's vision of spiritual rebirth and the end of the world is in many ways a call to action. It is a reminder that humanity's ultimate goal is not material success, but spiritual awakening. The end of the world, according to Cayce, would be a time of great transformation, but it would also be a time of great opportunity. It would be a time when humanity would be given the chance to rise above its limitations, to embrace its higher nature, and to create a world of peace, love, and spiritual harmony. In conclusion, Edgar Cayce's predictions about the end of the world and spiritual rebirth offer a hopeful and transformative vision for the future. Rather than focusing on destruction and catastrophe, Cayce saw the end of the world as a time of spiritual awakening and rebirth. This period of transformation would be marked by both physical and spiritual upheaval, but it would ultimately lead to a new era of peace, unity, and higher consciousness. Cayce's teachings encourage individuals to focus on their spiritual development, to prepare for the coming changes, and to embrace the opportunity for growth and renewal that lies ahead. For those who are willing to open their hearts and minds to this vision, the end of the world could be seen not as an end, but as a new beginning. In conclusion, the predictions and teachings of Edgar Cayce present a unique and transformative perspective on the future of humanity and the Earth. His views on the end of the world, spiritual rebirth, and the evolution of consciousness offer hope for a world undergoing significant changes. Unlike traditional apocalyptic visions that focus on destruction, Cayce's insights emphasize a period of profound spiritual awakening, where humanity has the opportunity to transcend its limitations and embrace a higher state of being. Cayce's predictions, while often regarded as mysterious and complex, reflect his deeply held belief in the cyclical nature of time and the interconnectedness of all life. He envisioned a world where spiritual growth and personal transformation would take precedence over materialism and self-interest. According to Cayce, the end of the world as we know it would not signify the annihilation of life, but rather the end of an era of ignorance and division, replaced by a new age of enlightenment, cooperation, and unity. Throughout his readings, Cayce stressed the importance of individual responsibility in preparing for the changes to come. He encouraged people to focus on their spiritual development, emphasizing qualities such as compassion, empathy, and understanding. These teachings are as relevant today as they were during Cayce's time, as they offer a roadmap for navigating the challenges of the modern world. In a time of increasing global uncertainty, Cayce's messages serve as a reminder that the key to overcoming adversity lies in our ability to connect with one another on a deeper, spiritual level. The physical changes that Cayce predicted, including natural disasters and geological upheavals, are often interpreted as signs of the Earth's own spiritual evolution. These events, while potentially unsettling, are seen as necessary steps in the process of transformation, just as individuals must face challenges and growth to reach a higher state of awareness. So too must the planet undergo a period of purification and renewal. Cayce's emphasis on the Earth's spiritual consciousness and its connection to humanity underscores the idea that we are not separate from the planet, but deeply interlinked with its fate. Cayce's teachings also shed light on the role of extraterrestrial beings in humanity's spiritual evolution. While Cayce's descriptions of these beings remain open to interpretation, they suggest that we are not alone in the universe and that contact with other civilizations may play a crucial role in our collective awakening. This broader perspective encourages us to consider the possibility that humanity's future is intertwined with the cosmic forces that govern the universe. Ultimately, Cayce's vision of the future invites us to consider the possibilities of spiritual renewal and transformation, both on an individual and collective level. While the challenges of the future may seem daunting, they also present opportunities for profound growth and change. Cayce's insights offer a blueprint for navigating these transitions with grace, compassion, and a deeper understanding of our true purpose in life. As we move forward into an uncertain future, it is important to remember the teachings of Edgar Cayce, who reminded us that spiritual awakening is not just a personal journey but a collective one. The transformation he predicted is not something that will happen in isolation, but something that will involve all of humanity coming together to embrace a higher level of consciousness. By focusing on our spiritual growth and fostering a sense of unity and cooperation, we can contribute to the creation of a more peaceful, loving, and enlightened world. In conclusion, while the future may seem uncertain, Cayce's teachings offer hope and guidance for those willing to embrace the spiritual awakening he believed was inevitable. The end of the world, as Cayce saw it, is not a final destruction but a rebirth, a transition to a new era of spiritual enlightenment and collective evolution. By heeding his insights and preparing ourselves spiritually, we can play an active role in shaping the future and creating a world that reflects the highest ideals of love, peace, and unity.